Hi darlings, this is Sewing Julie and welcome to my channel where we talk everything sewing. So 2022 is ending and I wanted to show you my top 10 best sewing tools of 2022. So these are the tools that I either bought this year or I had them for a while, but this year they shine in a completely new light to me and I sort of rediscovered them. These are not essential tools for sewing, but these are tools that I do enjoy using. They are more efficient, they make the process more fun, or like I genuinely just like to use them. This is not a sponsored video. Every single tool that you will see today is my personal tool that I use, love, and I definitely can recommend to you. If you like any of these tools, I will link some of them in the description box down below, and these will be affiliate links, meaning that if you click the link, purchase the item within 24 hours, I get a small percentage at no additional cost to you, but it does help the channel. If you like these kind of videos, I would really appreciate if you could click the like button so that I know that you like these videos and I can keep making them. If you don't like the video, well, hit the dislike button. This will be an indication for me as well. Okay, so without any further ado, let's start our top 10 best sewing tools of 2022. So I will start with the best value item in this entire list is the item that if you follow me on Instagram, I showed it like so many times. This is a 32 presser feet kit that I bought on Amazon and it costs 21 euros or $21. It's insanely good value for me because like each presser foot costs less than $1 and I think that's a very good deal. Now of course, because there are so many presser foot, like you end up using not all of them because they're very specific and niche feet. I do personally liked using the gathering foot, the pin tucking foot, and the Teflon foot. These were my favorite ones, as well as the hemming foot. So far, every foot that I tried from this set was good. I did have some problems with the one of the narrow hem foots, but I later cracked the code and I mastered that foot as well. So if you ever bought like any other presser foot before, you know that they can, when you're buying them separately and when you're buying them branded, they can be like quite pricey. So I personally think that $21 for a set of 32 is definitely worth it. I use it on my Zinger heavy duty 4423 sewing machine and it works with most of the domestic sewing machines that have a clip-on system. So definitely best value item in this entire top 10 list. The second tool I want to show you is the chalk sharpener. This is the tool I wish I bought like 10 years ago, but I only bought this year and it's game changer, you guys. It's definitely worth the money. So for me, I always use chalk for marking, tracing, whatever. And you know, after a while, the chalk gets dull. So I used to like sharpen it with the edge of the scissors and it was always messy. The results were not really good. But with this little plastic tool, you just like slide the chalk several times and the chalk is sharp again, like new. And I sharpen it now before every single new project. Definitely worth it. I paid like $3 for this and I will link a bit more expensive option down below because yeah, I didn't manage to find online this cheap tool, but it is really worth it. If you can get your hands on it, I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of using chalk as me. So this next tool is the sewing gauge. This is not a new tool, but I wanted to keep it in the list because there are so many people who do not know about this tool. Still, it does solve a lot of problems for them. So I am adding this tool to the list. Definitely something I used a lot this year, especially when I'm making clothing for my baby and I want to, you know, equally space all the snaps. So I just use this tool and it makes everything so much more faster, accurate, and the process is much smoother than without it when you have to like calculate it in your head and it's still, you never calculate good enough. So with this tool, no thinking needed. You just use it and mark either snaps, buttons, or gathers that you need. So this next tool is heavy. Oh my god, this is the tool. This is the snap press, right? So when I will put it down because it is really heavy. I will tell you up front, I do not know where you can buy this. I bought this tool at our local store. They do not have international shipping, and as I last checked, they do not have this in stock at all. This snap press is made in Turkey and by company Premax. It's really good quality and very good quality price ratio, but unfortunately I don't have the link for this. I wanted to make clothing for my baby, and you know, baby clothes need a lot of snaps, so I was debating between the pliers or the snap press. I first went with the snap pliers because they were essentially much cheaper than the press. My experience with the snap pliers is awful. They took a lot of time to install. They took a lot of power to install, and my hands hurt so bad after installing. But the third and the worst thing is that the snaps, like once I put them in and I opened them with just a little bit more force, they would just take off and break off, and that's like, no, you cannot use it for baby clothing. It's not safe. So I threw away the pliers and I bought the snap press. I bought the snap press for, if I remember correctly, like $50, and then additionally you have to buy adapters, which were like $15 for depending on the snap size that you want to use. So the snap press is essentially a bit more higher investment than the pliers. However, the snaps themselves are very cheap, and I am buying these snaps for 50 snap set for $3. So this is much cheaper compared to when you buy the branded pliers and you have to buy branded snaps. Then the 10 snaps cost like $5, at least here where I live. So it's really a huge difference. So with the snap press, the initial investment is bigger, but if you use it a lot, the cost goes down because the snaps themselves are much cheaper. With the snap press, the process is very fast and very efficient. You don't have to use any power at all, so it's great for me because I don't like using my hand strength a lot. And once you put them in, they stay put in. So that is a win. That is my best tool that I bought this year. Definitely, I do regret buying the pliers. I should have just instead bought the snap press right away. So okay, number 5 is, I think you don't see this. Okay, here we go. So this is my lamp. Again, this is not new, but I rediscover this lamp every single year, and I cannot recommend you enough because it's a game changer. So here's how it works. So you just turn it on and it just instantly lights up the sewing space so much, and you can adjust the height, of course. So everything that you see here is very clear. I will add in the side of the video the example of the workspace without the light and then with the light, and you can see by yourself what a significant difference it is. So like when you're sewing in summer, when the days are long, sunny, bright, it doesn't really make such a difference. But now that we're in cold season and it gets super dark super early and a lot of days are gloomy, I cannot sew without this lamp because my eyes instantly get tired. So this really solves this huge discomfort for me. And if you are sitting right now thinking, Julie, I do have the same problem, check this lamp out. It's really good. You don't necessarily have to buy this particular lamp. It is quite costly. It costs about $100, a little bit more than that. But if you're buying a lamp, make sure you're buying a lamp with lots of aluminum. I think this one has like more than 2000 aluminum, and when you put that much light into one concentrated area and it gets lit up so good, it's literally feels like you're sewing on operating table. It's just that good. So we are in the middle of the list, and if you're enjoying the video so far, I would appreciate if you would click the like button and leave a comment down below with your favorite sewing tool of 2022. I really want to hear it. I read all of my comments and reply to most of them, so I really want to hear your feedback and what was working for you. So maybe I will find a new item that I can discover next year. Okay, moving on. I have not a tool, but a sewing thread. Not a regular sewing thread, but elastic sewing thread. Definitely something that I truly rediscovered this year. It shines in a completely new light for me. I think that this is something that you need to have in your sewing toolbox because it does come handy. So for one thing, one of my patterns include lots of shearing, but also like you can make very quick adjustments and completely transform the garment using just this elastic gum thread. I definitely do recommend using it. It does work. It's super fast to work with, and they create elastic gathers, which are nice to look at, very comfy to wear, and yeah, definitely something that I do recommend for you to have. I think one of these bobbins costs like just a bit below €2 I paid for this, so it's not expensive. It lasts you a long time, and I definitely recommend you to have it just in case. Okay, so the next tool is also like not technically a tool, but twin needle. This year I truly rediscovered the twin needle. So before that I had mixed feelings about twin needles because they sometimes would work and sometimes they wouldn't work. But this year I started using Organ Needle twin needle. This is not sponsored. I do work with Organ Needle brand sometimes, but this part right here is not sponsored. I'm talking from my own experience. Once I switched to Organ Needles twin needles, my sewing process with the twin needle became effortless. The threads never tangle. I can sew at the high speed and without any problems. I use it on my Singer Heavy Duty 4423 sewing machine. I don't know why this particular twin needle works best, but I definitely can recommend this because it ensures trouble-free sewing for me, and I use it to hem my knits mostly, but also you can create a nice pin tucks using this needle. Next sewing item I want to show you, it's again very heavy one. This is, yeah, you can see, okay, you can see this is a very big book on pattern making. Now this is something I wanted to buy for quite a while now, but it is an investment because this book right here costs around $100, something like that, and it's all about pattern making. It's by Pearson Company. I can definitely recommend if you want to like a lot of understanding about how to make patterns. This has literally everything you need to know about pattern making. Very good book. Is it for beginners? Not sure, because this book, as I understand, is created to be like a helping guide in the schools. Okay, so this is when you go to like sewing school and you learn pattern making, and there is a teacher who is telling you about the subject, and this is like a helping aid to deepen the knowledge. When you don't have the teacher, this might be a bit difficult to navigate at first, but once you crack that basic standard block, this book really is helpful, and you can literally find any kind of design that you want. This covers everything from swimwear, colors, sleeves, everything. I have used several different books on pattern making. This one is the most in-depth book I found. It is also the most expensive book that I found, but for me personally it was worth the investment. So if you want to learn pattern making, I do recommend this book. I can tell you up front, I was a bit hesitant to invest so much money in the book because essentially you can find everything on the internet, but the thing on the internet is that you have to spend a lot of time researching and finding good materials, and here you have like everything in one place. And the second thing, sometimes on the internet you find things, tutorials, but they're not really accurate or not really technically correct, and this book is correct. And yeah, so personally it's much faster than going on the internet and much more accurate. This is why I loved having this book, and I can recommend you as well. So this next tool is, if you like making your own patterns, or if you use patterns that do not have seam allowance, this little tool right here is very practical. So it is seam gauge, and it has these different angles, and they represent different markings. So for example, 1 centimeter, 1.5, 3 centimeters, and you just go around the pattern and mark seam allowance. Very fast, very efficient tool. I like using it. You don't have to buy this. I saw someone making similar tool from the cardboard, and it works too. If you work with patterns that don't have seam allowance, I think it's a must-have. It's not that expensive, so I do recommend this. And if you don't want to buy it, you can try recreating this with the seam allowances that you use the most. And this last tool is my favorite sewing organization tool, which is the Bobbin box. So I am a person who loves when everything is in its right place and everything is in right order. So I used to have my bobbins lying around everywhere, but with this box I can manage them and store them neatly, securely, and how I want, and they're always in the right place. There no thread tangling, so I really love it. Yeah, it's like not a must-have tool, but I personally really love it, and every single time I take this box, I am so happy that the bobbins are not like rolling around everywhere. So yeah, if you're a person like me and like when everything has its place, check this out. So this is it. These are all the top 10 best sewing tools for me in 2022. Leave a comment down below with your best sewing tool for 2022. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye!